Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WRESTLEBUDDY Dynamite recap. It is yours truly, Jimmy Bebe, the Drip King. Sorry, I'm just getting my crown situated here real quick for you. So we have Dynamite, and it's the post-Revolution Dynamite. I had very high hopes for this show, mainly because this was the chance for AEW to take all the momentum they've gathered over the past few weeks after delivering a phenomenal, in my opinion, best pay-per-view they've had since their inception. And they come out tonight with Dynamite, and I gotta tell you, they fell flat on their face, in my opinion. But I'll get to that as the show goes on, but we'll get it started. The show, right out the gate, we get Chris Jericho coming out to the ring. He's just talking about how he didn't shake Eddie Kingston's hand after Eddie Kingston beat him. And he wants Eddie to come out there, and he wants to apologize to him. So out comes Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston comes out, and he cuts a promo. Just a lot of the same stuff we've heard from him already. I know Eddie Kingston's a really good promo, and I hate to bash him at any point for it, but it's just a lot of the kind of same stuff we've heard already from him. But then he puts over Chris, and he says, you know what? After that match, I could tell Chris, you know, you're still number one. You're still the man, but not on that night. And then Chris says, you know what? You're right, Eddie, and I want to shake your hand. So he reaches out to shake Eddie's hand. Eddie comes, and they shake hands. Cue the music. 2.0 rules. And Daniel Garcia come running to the ring, and they attack Jericho and Eddie Kingston. They beat down these guys for a good minute before any kind of help comes. But that's when Santana and Ortiz decide to come down and make the save. So they get down there, and they start the numbers game is now in their favor. At one point, they're holding up one of the members of 2.0. They say, hey, Chris, here's the bat. You take a crack at him. Chris like, yeah? And he's sitting there chasing him, and then he cracks Santana over the head with a bat. And then Ortiz like, what? And then he cracks Ortiz across the gut with the belt. And then 2.0 rules. Daniel Garcia and Chris Jericho start beating down Santana, Ortiz, and Eddie Kingston. Jake Hager comes running out, and he's like, wow, he's conflicted. Not really sure why. He's been Jericho's side man this whole time, but he's conflicted. He's like, oh, what do I do? And then he just ends up helping, and it went from a 4-on-3 to a 5-on-3, and they just start beating these guys down. And then they hold Eddie Kingston, and Jericho takes the bat, cracks him over. This I feel like the segment went on a little too long. It wasn't terrible by no means, because it's setting up the next stage of the Jericho Eddie Kingston stuff, and that's fine with me. It did go a tad bit long. The funny part about this whole segment is afterwards Jericho's like, this is an inner circle. What we have right now is the Jericho Appreciation Society. That's the name of this group. The Jericho Appreciation Society. Yes, Chris, the Jericho Appreciation Society. I'm not giving it to Bebe because I laughed out loud. I even put in my notes L-O-L. I spelled out L. I didn't put L-O. I spelled it out. It was that damn funny to me. Hello, Courtney. What up? Thank you for joining. So yeah, that was the opening segment. My favorite parts of Dynamite, usually the first 30 minutes. Not this week. This was a bad start to the show. Again, it wasn't terrible. It was just long, and yeah, it didn't fit right for the beginning of the show. Yes, we got Jeff Hardy. So after that, we get into the Hangman Page Dante Martin match that Tony had announced earlier in the night for the title. Because Dante Martin is the number 2 ranked person, he felt it was necessary to give him a title match tonight. No build up, no nothing. It just said, yeah, it's happening tonight. Watch it. What we got was a decent match. It was as far as Hangman Page's title matches since he's been champion, this is the worst. It wasn't a bad. It just wasn't up to par with what we're used to with old Hangman Page. What we got here? Yes, more Jeff Hardy talk. We're gonna get there. But after the match, Hangman Page wins. And then afterwards, he puts over Dante Martin and says, "You're tough SOB. You know, you were put in a bad position last year when your brother went down. You had to become a singles competitor. You fought all your way to the title. If you ever fight your way back, it'll be an honor to face you again for this title. You hit hard, kid." And about that time, here comes, you guessed it, Adam Cole, baby. And he is not done with Hangman Page. He says, "You got lucky. Anybody can get lucky, but you're not getting away from me, and I'm not stopping this quest until I am the AEW World Champion. But until that day happens, next week, I'm challenging you to a 6-man match. You get 2 people, anybody you want, and then I'll get 2 people that you know very well, and they're my best friends. A couple of my young best friends. A little hint there of who we might be picking. And then that. So the match was good. The post-match was good. Everything about this segment, probably the best part of the night. That's not favoritism, I promise you. This was just every bit of this part of the show was done well, and I enjoyed it. From there, we go to a Danielson, John Moxley tag team match versus the Workhorsemen. I think that's what they were called. I've never seen them before, so I haven't. I know JD Drake was in there, and I know people like JD Drake. This was in a half bad match, and I will say this. The last time I watched, every other time I've seen John Moxley in an AEW tag team match, he makes me so mad because he just waltzes in the ring whenever he wants, does what he wants, goes back out. The refs have no control over him. And it's like, come on, man, don't do this. So when they announced that him and Brian were going to be doing a match, and I was like, man, I don't want Mox in a tag team. With that said, he did a fantastic job. He played. Being with Daniel Bryanson is what needed to happen for being a tag team because he's following the rules, and that's all I want in tag team wrestling. Follow the simple rules. The match probably went on a little bit longer than it should have with people like Moxley and Brian Danielson, but they had very good chemistry, and they ended up picking up the win. Brian got Brian Danielson. I'm sorry, I'm still not used to it yet. He ended up making JD Drake tap out. Yes, JD Drake, your man. He tapped out to the label lock. Brian Danielson said. Afterwards, William Regal comes in the ring and he cuts a promo talking about the history of himself, Tony Schiavone, Brian Danielson, John Moxley. He puts over Brian Danielson so much. He calls him basically the perfect, ideal professional wrestler, which isn't a bad nod. But yeah, he completely puts over Brian Danielson and then says their pairing of these two is perfect because you have the perfect wrestler with the guy who is willing to just do whatever it takes and go overboard to get the job done. Yes, it does have the potential to be great. My only issue with this whole thing, Chris, was that the promo went on way too long because nothing was really said other than I have history with these people and you're not going to want to face them. You could have done that in a minute. I just did it right there in 15 seconds. But he wanted to tell a story. I get it. William Regal wanted his time to, get out there. I get it. Just long. There was a lot of talking on this episode of Dynamite, and I know. Oh, you're a WWE. Yeah, I am, but it's not the same. And this stood out to me. Like this segment right here is when I was like, man, this is a lot of talking so far, and it doesn't slow down because I'm going to the next part of the show, in which we go to the backstage area and Dark Order. They're have an interview, and then Hangman Page comes up and he's apologizing for Sunday because he pushed one of them and he was acting like an a-hole, and he just wanted to really apologize. And they say, yeah, no problem, man. No problem. We got you. So who's it going to be? Who are you picking for your tag team next week? And he goes, this is awkward because I just ran into Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus and they want to get their hands on the Young Bucks. So I told them they could join me next week. So there's a little bit of dissension there going on with there. They were like, yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. But it's the way they said it was like, it's not that cool. They're not that okay with it. So yeah. So that's Hangman Page's partners. He's picking Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for next week. That's the segment right there. Not a bad segment. A continuation from what they did earlier. Worked perfectly. I liked it. From there, we got a Wheeler Utah versus Pac match. It's a good match. The Pac wins, which you would expect here. Wheeler Utah hasn't quite reached that level to be getting these wins yet on Dynamite, but it was a very good match, and yeah, I got no complaints with it. I suggest it might be the best match on the card tonight, in my opinion. After that, we go to the backstage. We got Adam Cole, Young Bucks, and Red Dragon, and they're being filmed by, of course, Cutler. And basically, Adam Cole is talking about the match next week, and he's sitting there really teasing who he's going to pick. And it's everything he's saying is like, it's going to be the Young Bucks. And then before he could answer it, he even says something about like, they're really good at partying. Super kick party. We know what he's talking about. But before he could give his choices, Young Bucks said, hey, we've already told you, man, if it has anything to do with Hangman, we don't want no part of it. And then Adam Cole's like, I wasn't even going to pick you. I was picking my friends, Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish. And then the Young Bucks like, okay. And they walked off. And Red Dragon says something about like, you guys are so conceited, something like that. And they are. It's true. That was a shoot. That wasn't okay, Fabro. Anyway, I digress. Going back to this the show. Back to the show. So they walk off together, and then Cutler's like, we would have picked you, Young Bucks. And they say, shut up, Cutler. The trademark stuff. Got to get it in. This segment worked. I don't think it worked as effective as the Hangman and Dark Order one, but it worked, and it's just to tease more of the split up between Bucks, Cole, and Red Dragon, who've pretty much already gone. From there, things get a little bit wonky. Again, more talking there, and then we're going to go right into more talking because it's an FDR promo, and they're with Tully, and they're talking about family. And then Tully says, I'm not here for family. We're here to win AEW championships. And then that pisses off Dax. He grabs him. Cash has to separate him, and then basically says, he flat out says, Tully, you're fired. So FTR is going a strange route. I did see they were about to start taking some indie bookings. So this is very weird timing for me. That's me. Bucks might reunite with Kenny. Yes, Chris, this is my thought for about since Jay White came. That's been my thought, is that Kenny will be going back. Kenny, Bucks, and Hangman are all reuniting. I really think that's where they're heading with. And you're going to have Adam Cole, Red Dragon, and Jay White. That's my thought. Again, once Jay came in, that was my thought. And it definitely looks like that might still be where they're heading. I don't know how much Jay White is involved with AEW to this point still. But after the FTR interview where they fired Tully, out comes to the ring, we have the AHFO meeting. And I wrote in my notes, because why Matt Hardy continues to be on this TV show every single week, sometimes he's on Rampage too, is crazy to me. He is boring. He is not that good in the ring anymore. And this is nothing against him for what he's done, because he's a pioneer for the evolution of wrestling. And he should be thanked and applauded and all that good stuff for him. He should not still be on this TV show every single freaking week, but he is. And basically they're doing a vote because Andrade wants Matt gone. Matt's like, I made this business. You can't kick me out. So they took it to a vote. He goes, my boys aren't going to turn on me. Private Party's not going to turn on me. They don't want me gone. So Andrade says, okay, I want you gone. And then Matt Hardy, no, yeah, I want you gone. And then Matt Hardy's like, I'm staying. And then Andrade's manager says, I want you gone. I don't know which ones they were using, whatever. Point being, Private Party was like, yeah, we want him to stay. And then as Matt Hardy starts talking, he goes, see, I'm not going anywhere. That's when they go, and Andrade says, you should probably really watch your back. And then they start beating up Matt Hardy. My favorite part of the show, probably, honestly. Hardy Boys versus Private Party. Yeah, that could be good. I just don't think so, Chris. I just don't think Jeff still has a little bit to offer. Matt just has nothing left to offer at this point. He's a good businessman. He's just there behind the scenes doing business, helping these guys move, the younger guys learn some things. Anyway, back to the thing. So Matt Hardy's getting beat up. Out comes Sting and Darby, and they're walking to the ring. It's almost like, yeah, you're beating them up, and we don't really care that much, but we're going to come save them eventually. So they get down, jump in the ring, start taking care of business. Still outnumbered greatly because it's Andrade, Private Party, and then Blade and the Butcher. So Matt's down. Sting and Darby are outnumbered like 5-2, 4-2, something like that. So then all of a sudden Jeff Hardy's music plays, and that's one I'm questioning. Like, I thought that was WWE's music, but we'll see what the deal with that is. Anyway, Jeff Hardy music hits. It's instantly like, yep, that's Jeff. And he comes running down to the ring and clears the ring out, helps Matt and Jeff embrace. There's your Jeff Hardy AEW debut. We all knew it was coming. Chris is happy. Jeff is back. Hey, I'm happy for you. You're a Jeff fan. He's on TV. Anything you like that's on TV, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I've never been a big Jeff Hardy fan myself, so this whole thing just doesn't like intrigue me that much. And again, I think Matt Hardy is dead weight at this point. But the Hardy Boys will have their last hurrah here. They'll have a thing with Private Party. They'll have one with Young Bucks. I'm sure they'll get one with FTR because that's one I don't think we've gotten yet, and it needs to happen because FTR needs to wrestle all the legends they can. Yes, that was good because as I pointed, Sting, he says Jeff was dancing while Matt was getting whooped. So I mentioned Sting and Darby walked to the ring while Matt was getting beat up. Jeff decided to come out and start going, like, looking. He's like, I see you, Matt. Dun 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 dun. Man, he's crazy. But he came down, saved the day, and they hugged. All is good. That was that segment. It was an effective segment. Just I think it was I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I'm out on the Hardys. And again, we all knew Jeff was coming. From there, we go to the back, and it's Swerve interview. More talking. And he's talking about his debut on Rampage coming up. Tony Nese comes up and says, maybe I should welcome you to AEW because they have history. And Swerve's like, that's okay. Just remember whose house this is because it ain't your house, Tony. It's Swerve's house. And that's it. So they have a match on Rampage. That should be a decent match. If I'm home, I'm watching it because I think it'd be a decent match. Rampage all around has a bunch of decent matches, and I think you should tune in if you have the time for it. After that, we get a Wardlow, not a squash match, an interview in the ring. So we have more talking. Wardlow comes out, and his interview is basically about how Max is a bad guy. He came from poor beginnings, and money is something that like he wanted because it's not something he had. And he was willing to overlook the fact that Max was a bad person, but now he's over that because Max was treating him like shit. He's still under contract with Max, and he goes, "You better rip that contract up, Max, if you know what's good for you." And yeah, I would love to powerbomb the hell out of him, but I'm trying to move on and be done with all this. So we know where it's going there. This is probably the most effective promo of the night because we all knew MJF and Wardlow was coming next. With no MJF on the show tonight, we needed something to be like, hey, that's where we're going. And they gave the reins to Wardlow, and he did a pretty good job. His interview was pretty lengthy, so for him to be able to handle it, and I think he just slipped up one time, not bad. I think Wardlow, he's impressed me again. Lots of promos tonight, Chris. In your opinion? No, it's a fact. It was way too many promos tonight. And as I said, it's not a good time to be putting out a show like this after Revolution. I just think there was so much momentum on their side, and they just kind of like threw it out the window. Like, hey, we'll just restart again. And it's, man, no, don't do that. But back, Wardlow's interview's over. And what do we do next? I'm going to let y'all guess. And if you guessed there was another interview, you would be correct. We go to the backstage, and Keith Lee is getting interviewed now, and he's with QT, and QT's trying to recruit him, saying, we both have the common enemy. We should team up. And Keith Lee's like, I'm good, and walks off. That's it. That's it. Don't have to watch it. It was okay. Like, I'm not really sure. Nobody really likes QT. I love QT Marshall. I think he's great, but no one else seems to like QT Marshall. So why they feel the need to keep trying to get him in there and do stuff, I don't know. But yeah, this didn't work. So it leads me to believe that Keith Lee not only has issues, man, I don't with Team Taz. Now he's gonna have problems with QT Marshall and the Nightmare Factory. So yeah, that's happening. After that, we go to guess what's next? No, I'm just joking. We actually have a match next. We get Acclaimed versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Not a terrible tag team match. There was some sloppiness in here. Interesting thing here that they didn't even mention on commentary was that the Ass Boys had moved to ringside for this match, and they were loud. That's how I caught them. I heard them yelling. I was like, what are the Ass Boys doing there? And they said that the whole match, they didn't interfere. They didn't talk about them on commentary, but they came down for the match. They watched the match, and then they were gone. Acclaimed almost had me. I thought they were about to win it. They used the stereo on Luchasaurus, and then they double teamed on Jungle Boy, and the false finish, it got me. I was like, I was waiting to just be mad because Jungle Boy not only lost the tag titles, but he's the one that lost them by getting pinned. I would have been mad, boo-hooing. That's me. But didn't happen. Jungle Boy kicked out, fought back, got the win when he got the pin, and that was that. No afterbirth, which is good. They need more of that. And yeah, that's that. So from there, we go to a commercial break. We come back, and then we got Jade Cargill. She's asking 2 questions. Who's next? Because she's Goldberg, according to Tony Khan. And then after that, she's like, well, honestly, who's left? Because there really isn't anybody left for Jade Cargill. Britt Baker, that's it. I think she's pretty much beaten all the other names that she needs to beat. But yeah, she just cut a promo. It was decent. She's going with the kiss of death thing like she did with Tay Connie. So that should be interesting. Now that I know the reason I didn't know a reason, but I was like, why is she kissing her? That's weird. But then I was like, oh, Jade, the fatal makes sense. I liked it. But yeah, she's going to play on that because she referenced kiss of death. But yeah, after that, we get the Layla Hirsch Thunder Rosa match, the women's qualifier. Weird to call this a women's qualifier match when there's literally only one match. There's not other matches, and it's not a tournament or anything. It's literally just one match. Whoever wins this gets to take on Britt Baker for the world title. And having Thunder Rosa in that match is weird as well because she just fought Britt Baker and lost. So why is she here? I don't know. That's just what they're doing. This match, I wish I could say was good. It was sloppy. I like Thunder and I like Layla. I just don't think they work well together. There's no cohesiveness there. And Rosa wins the title next week. Yep, Chris. Unfortunately. But yeah, the Layla Hirsch Thunder Rosa, it was a lot of sloppiness to it. Red Velvet came down at one point to help out by preventing Layla from using a weapon, throw her in the ring, and then Rosa got the win. Afterwards, Tony Schiavone had said, 1 year ago at the St. Patrick's Day Slam, you beat Britt Baker in that fantastic whatever match. So he's just informed me that next week you will actually be facing Britt Baker for the world title. We're not going to wait. We're going to do it next week at St. Patrick's Slam again, and it's going to be in a steel cage. And Thunder Rosa is all pumped, and it's like, I'm not mad about it because honestly, with Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, it's the best feud you could have in the women's division for AEW. I'm mad at the lack of creativity with the whole thing. I just feel like there's a lot of story they could be telling here. They got real lazy when it came to the Revolution buildup, and now here they are just I know you guys like the term hot-shotting. They're hot-shotting this match again for next week. And yes, Chris, Rosa is most definitely going to be winning next week unless something crazy happens. And I'm not for this because there's nobody in the women's division better than Britt. I don't want to hear that she's been champion too long when there's nobody in line that's ready. Thunder Rosa is not ready to be the world champion. That's my opinion. I've had a few people agree with me on this. I just don't think anybody is bigger than Britt. So, and beating Britt isn't going to make Thunder bigger than Britt. It's just going to be the same thing that happened last year. So I don't think Britt should lose next week, but she's going to lose next week more than likely. And Rosa will be your new AEW Women's Champion. But yeah, after, like I said, that was a sloppy match. And then an announcement for next week. And then we go right to the back where Britt cuts an interview doing what she does best, in which she says, I'm not worried about it. It is unfair that it's in your hometown, yada, yada, yada. But I'm still going to win because you won last year, but I ended up really winning. It's the truth because Britt ended up becoming champion and Thunder did nothing. But she goes, but yeah, and then she ended it with, obviously DMD. Okay, so that'll be your main event next week on Dynamite. If it's anything like last year's match, it'll be entertaining. It'll be entertaining. I'm just fingers crossed Thunder Rosa doesn't win. From there, we go to the main event. It's crazy because the layout of the show, I'm looking at my notes now, and the layout of the show was like promo, match, match, and then promo, match, promo, match. Really weird layout. That it wasn't exactly like that. I exaggerated a bit, but yeah, you get the gist of it. But yeah, main event time. Sami Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. I was looking forward to this match because Sami Guevara is killing it right now. Yes, Chris, nobody will ever be on the level of DMD. You're absolutely right. That's why when someone beats her, it should make that person, kind of like with the Roman Reigns situation. Brock Lesnar beating Roman Reigns, it wouldn't do nothing for Brock because we already know. But if someone new was to come up and beat Roman Reigns, or someone new was to come up and beat Britt Baker, they're made. So that's what they should be doing. My opinion. I don't know. Or, as you said, make Jade lose the TBS title, then you don't have to have Jade lose the TBS title. She could win them both. She's that good. She brings in ratings. She clearly is a ratings puller for them. She looks like a superstar. Put both titles on her. Put her on talk shows and all other stuff. Carrying both those belts. AEW. Who's this? She looks like a super. That's what they should be doing. That's my opinion. I'll leave it at that though. Sami Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. Sami's been killing it. As they point out, I think this is like 9 matches in 8 weeks for him. Defend that title 8 times. He's absolutely just killing it, doing the damn thing. And Scorpio Sky has been underutilized almost since he got there. So this match, unfortunately, did not live up to the hype I have for it. Crazy spot, though. Sami pulls out a table because they got to have a table in the main event. Puts Scorpio on it, and he lets everyone know, like, I'm crazy. And then sticks his tongue out. I'm crazy. Yeah, we know Sami. And then he does the little, I think they call it a 630, even though he's doing, it's a 720. It's 2 360s, whatever. He does it. Scorpio moves, and it's from the post to the ground, and he just smacks his ground. It hurt. I don't care who you. That hurt, man. And Tay came out to check on him, and the refs were like keeping people. I don't think he was hurt, but he was hurt enough to be like, yo, I need a break for a minute because wind is gone. Interesting part of this match, though, is I forgot to mention, Paige Van Zant was at ringside in the crowd for this. So when Tay came out, I already, light bulb, boop, on this happened. When they finally got Sami back in, they got back in the ring, and him and Scorpio Sky had about 5 to 6 minutes to kind of make up for the first half that was lost. And I mean, they did what they could in the time they were given. I just don't think it was enough to really deliver on this match. And in the end, the injury to Sami played a big part in it. And then Ethan Page tried to get involved, but Tay came and pulled him off. And then when that happened, Paige Van Zant jumped the ramp, and she attacked Tay Connie, threw her into the steps. That distracted Sami, which allowed Scorpio to pick him up. Boom, hit his move. 1, 2, 3. Scorpio Sky is your new TNT champion. Afterwards, they attacked Sami. Paige Van Zant attacked Tay. She signed her contract, threw it on Tay as they lay there on top of each other, and that's how the show ended. Now, I'm so happy for Scorpio. I'm sad for Sami because I like Sami. I'm not gonna say I'm a big Sami fan. I like Sami though. He's a fantastic dude. He was awesome, my kid. Yes, it did surprise me until I realized that Wardlow gets his title shot next week. So Scorpio Sky won the TNT title this week. He's losing it next week when he faces Wardlow. I don't even think MJF getting involved can prevent Wardlow from losing the match. So that's the show. As I said in the beginning, I think they dropped the ball huge. This was not the worst Dynamite, but it was far from being the best. There was parts where I just was not interested. I think they missed an opportunity to just really cap. I wanted them to so bad. I wanted them to take that momentum and just Usain Bolt with it, just and keep on going through March and April and just keep it rolling. And they just didn't. I will say there was no CM Punk tonight. That's fandom talking. I'm just joking. That's not why the show wasn't that good. It just wasn't that good of a show. That's all there was to it. Hopefully, and that sucks because Revolution was good, Raw was good, NXT was good, and then Dynamite was like, that's not a shot at AEW by no means. Please don't get mad at me, people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying tonight's show was not that good. But I'll leave it at that. That was the show. I would like to thank you guys for joining with me, chatting with me. Chris, as always, I got love for you, man. And I will be back next Monday night. Nope, I'm skipping something. Podcast this weekend, and then my next Monday night for the Raw recap. So until Saturday on the podcast, you guys have wonderful days, evenings, and all that good jazz. And I will see you then. And then also I will see you on the Monday recap. So goodbye. Boom.